Welcome to Money Majlis, the podcast where we explore the world of banking, finance, and social impact with the leaders who are shaping the future. I'm your host, Suvo Sarkar, and today I'm in Bangalore, India, to meet a visionary and a mentor. But before I tell you about my guest, I want to invite you to visit my new website, www.moneymajlis.com, to hear all past episodes of Money Majlis, both seasons 1 and 2. Apart from the podcasts, it also contains links to all the research I did for every episode. So if you want to deep dive into any specific topic of banking, technology, or marketing, you can find it all on my website. And it also has a link to the 6 charities I support, plus a link to your free $50 gift card. Today's episode is especially close to my heart. I have the pleasure of welcoming Samit Ghosh, a pioneer of Indian banking and microfinance, and someone I have known and admired for over 40 years. Samit's illustrious career spans Citibank, Standard Chartered, HDFC Bank, and Bank Muscat before he founded Ujjivan Financial Services in 2005, an institution that has brought financial inclusion to millions. But first, a message from my sponsors.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Aqua Now, the premier crypto-as-a-service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena, driving digital adoption in banking and insurance.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Live Digital Bank, powered by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
I'm bringing you this episode of Money Majlis from Bangalore, the tech capital of India. And my guest today is someone I've known for 40 years, Samit Ghosh. Samit Ghosh is a pioneering figure in Indian banking and microfinance, renowned for his visionary leadership and commitment to financial inclusion. With a distinguished career spanning over 4 decades, Samit began his journey at Citibank in 1975, where he played a key role in launching the bank's retail and non-resident Indian banking services. His expertise took him through senior roles at Arab Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, where he headed personal banking for South Asia and Middle East, and HDFC Bank, where he contributed to building the foundation of retail banking in India. In 2005, Samit founded Ujjivan Financial Services in Bangalore, which has since transformed into Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, serving millions of underserved and low-income customers across India. Under his stewardship, Ujjivan became a model for responsible microfinance, focusing on empowering women and urban poor through innovative lending models and robust risk management. Beyond his executive roles, Samit has been deeply involved in shaping the microfinance sector in India. He has served as president of the Microfinance Institutions Network, MFIN, chairman of the Association of Karnataka Microfinance Institutions, AKMI, and has been recognized with several awards for his contributions to financial inclusion and social impact. Samit's commitment to social issues extends through his leadership at the Parinam Foundation, which works to uplift urban ultra-poor communities through education, healthcare, and financial literacy initiatives. His influence and advocacy have left a lasting mark on both the banking industry and the broader landscape of social entrepreneurship in India. Samit is a graduate of the Jadavpur University in Kolkata, India, and an MBA from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, USA. Samit and I share roots that go back to our school days at Dinobili School in Dhanbad, India, and later as colleagues at Citibank and Standard Chartered. He's a leader known for his warmth, people-first approach, and zest for life. Whether it's building a beautiful home in Bangalore, exploring the world's cuisines, or traveling to new destinations. Today, I'm recording this podcast sitting in the comfortable living room of Shama's beautiful and green house in Whitefield, Bangalore, with lovely birds chirping around us. Shamit, welcome to Money Majlis. It's an honor to have you on this show.
Thank you, Suvo. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Shamit, before we dive into banking, let's go back to our school days at our common alma mater, Dhanbad School, where we both studied in the main campus in Digwadi, Dhanbad, India. Dhanbad School, set up in 1956 and named after a Christian missionary and Jesuit, Roberto Dhanbad, is originally an American missionary school that was way ahead of its time and has nurtured the early lives of thousands of individuals like you and me who grew up in the coal fields. What are your fondest memories from those formative years, Shamit? And how did your time there shape your values and ambitions?
Well, Suvo, I was in Dhanbad in the 50s, which was probably a decade before your time.
Yes.
And the 50s were a wonderful period. That was a period when there was a lot of enthusiasm of building new India after independence.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of excitement and joy around it. And people would be surprised to hear today that South Bihar at that time and Jharkhand today was a center of enormous number of developmental activities under Nehru at that time.
Yeah.
Steel plants were being built, hydroelectric dams were being built, fertilizers factories there,
In Sindri.
Sindri,
Yeah.
Engineering colleges. Then these Jesuits were there building wonderful schools. My father was there building hospitals for the coal miners. So there was a lot. That time, this area was like the center of activity, similar to something like what Bangalore or Hyderabad or Chennai is today from an IT capital perspective.
Yeah.
So it showcased India's new development. And at that time, I remember all the dignitaries who visit India, and most of them were from the communist world, remember standing on the dusty roads in Dhanbad, waving the Soviet and Indian flag for Khrushchev and Bulganin. Yeah.
Incredible.
So that was the time. It was like center of India's development, which is very difficult to believe today. So that was the excitement of being there at that time.
And I know your mother, Shamit, worked in the school with the pioneer Father Francis Xavier McFarland, under whose guidance Dhanbad School was started. In fact, you've written a beautiful book called One Beautiful Life on the life and times of Father McFarland. It's a beautiful book. I've read it and love it. Tell me, what inspired you to write this book, and how did Father McFarland's approach to service influence your own career in financial inclusion?
Well, immediately after independence, there was a band of Jesuits from across the world, Australia, Europe, America, who decided to come to India to build schools. The educational infrastructure was not that good in India. So they came around to here, build educational institutions here.
Yeah.
And Father McFarland was one of them, And he died in 2013. And I was in Bombay. And among the many institutions he had started, he found the Xavier Institute of Communications in Bombay, St. Xavier's.
Yeah.
Which was the first communication school in India, and they were having a memorial service for him, and they invited me. And then when I went there, I found that there were so many people Father McFarland had actually adopted and touched, and like what he did for our family.
Yeah.
And so many institutions he set up in India, Africa, also to a certain extent in the US. That he had an amazing life, So we decided that we would put together a book from memories of the family and friends and his students, which would recreate his extraordinary life, And he, even when he was dying, he kept saying that this was a beautiful life, and that's where the
That's
title
how.
comes from,
Okay.
you know. So
Interesting.
we put together this book, which is, I wrote only a portion of it. It's basically from the memories of the family, friends, and students, and it turned out to be a very good, book, which recorded his biography and his contribution to India.
And your mother worked closely with him in setting up the school.
My mother had started teaching in the school in those days in Bihar, and there were hardly any, difficult to find teachers. My mother had she was a master's in psychology, so Father McFarland had persuaded her to come and start teaching in the school, which actually was very fortuitous because my father died soon after, and my mother continued her teaching profession, and then ultimately she became professor of psychology in Calcutta.
I mean, Shamit, we both took our first steps into the world from the coal mining town of Dhanbad. Your father worked, setting up hospitals in the coal industry, and my father worked on a research institute in Dhanbad. Looking back, did you ever imagine, Shamit, that your journey would take you across continents and to the boardrooms of global banks?
Well, our world that time was so narrow and small.
Yeah.
That just going to Calcutta once a year to the big city and seeing the big city lights, especially around Christmas, etc.
Correct. On Park Street. Yeah.
Yeah, was the biggest thing that could happen to our lives.
Right.
Going global and traveling and working around the world was totally beyond our imagination. So that is something I don't think it struck us at all at that time. Life unfolded, and both of us have been around the world, lived there, worked there.
And what prompted you, Shamit, to go to Wharton?
Well, part of it was my brother was already in the US. So my mother was very keen that I go and study there. And there, Father McFarland played a big role. He actually recommended me to Wharton and suggested that I should go to Wharton. And that's how I ended up in Wharton. That was the only business school I had applied for.
And you got in.
And I got in,
Okay.
and that's how I ended up there.
Amazing. You began your banking career at Citibank in 1975 and played a pivotal role in launching the famous non-resident Indian or NRI banking services business. That business ended up being a case study on ethnic marketing at the Harvard Business School. You launched and headed the NRI business, and I started my banking career, in fact, as a rookie product manager for the NRI proposition, launching a life insurance-linked product called City Life, a deposit product which had insurance as one of the main features. Can you share, Shamit, how the Citibank NRI business came about, first of all, and its impact on the Indian diaspora?
Well, the thing was, Citibank was one of the first bank to identify the Indian middle class as a potential huge market for consumer banking business, But Citi had very few branches in India.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to set up a consumer business, you needed a solid funding base, deposit base,
Correct.
which they didn't have in India. Whereas Citi had branches all over the world, and NRIs lived across the world.
90 plus countries in those days, I remember.
Yeah. And so they decided that why don't we use the worldwide network to reach out to the NRIs and source the deposits from them, because the government of India had a very attractive program under the NRI program for them to put in deposits in India.
The FCNR program, Foreign Currency Non-Deposit Program.
NRE,
NRO,
FCNR and all that. And that was the origin of why, we built the NRI program, basically to fund the bank here, the
lending
consumer
of the bank in India.
And it became very successful.
Looking back, Shamit, what did you do differently that made Citibank so successful in attracting NRI customers?
Well, the key thing was that because of our branch network around the world, we were able to set up offices and deliver service to the people overseas in any country at their doorstep.
Yeah.
So that gave them a little bit of confidence, you know. In addition, we ensured that they get outstanding service,
Yeah.
you know, because the NRIs at that time were reluctant to invest in India, you know, first of all, from a risk perspective
Yeah.
of investing in India, then also the service levels, etc. So we focused on that, you know, saying that, look, we'll deliver the service right to you at your doorstep, and we will provide you outstanding service. I think those were the two key things which made it a big success.
You know, talking of success, I was reminiscing this with Harit Talwar, who both of us have worked with. In fact, he was one of my early managers in Citibank. We're reminiscing how in those days in the Middle East, whether it's Dubai, Bahrain, and Oman, we would set up these dinner meetings with one customer who we had got. He would invite his or her friends over home, and we would sponsor the dinner. And the deal was we would actually present Citibank and NRI services for 10 minutes during the dinner at some point on a white wall with one of those, side projectors. And next morning, we would make the calls to these prospective customers, ask them if they want any service from Citibank. You know, even if 20% of the customers or prospects said yes, that was a great way to open the doors. I mean, this is so basic in terms of marketing, but it worked.
Yeah, you know, one of my brother's close friends
Yeah.
was a direct marketing expert in those days, that time
Yeah.
in the US. And I asked him when we were starting the NRI program, how could we market to the NRIs?
Yeah.
He said, you know, you already have the formula. The best way to market Indians is through their stomach.
That must have been the reason why we did this. You know, there was a colleague I had in the Citibank Dubai office called Mala Singh. Mala and I would go through the yellow pages, the directory, not the yellow pages, sorry, the white directory of phone numbers, look for Indian names starting with A and then B and then C, and highlight with a green highlighter the names we thought sounded Indian. Then Mala would call them up and say, you know, are you Indian and are you NRI and would you be interested? And that's how we were doing marketing, as basic as that. And that worked.
Absolutely.
Now, talking at a broader level, Shravan, you were part of the team along with Jerry Rao and Ravi Behel that launched Citibank's consumer banking division in India in the mid-1980s. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in introducing modern banking, like the first ATM in India, to the Indian middle class?
Well, you know, I mean, as I mentioned, Citi was the pioneer in identifying the consumer banking business for the middle class in India. But the problem at that time was technology, you know. If you wanted to provide consumer banking services to a large customer base,
Yeah.
you really needed technology. You know? And at that time, what did we have? We had calculators.
Yeah.
We had those manual
Adding machines.
and ledger posting machines, etc.
Correct.
There was a lot of hostility by the unions against
Absolutely.
automation, etc.
Yeah.
And the government regulations in terms of bringing in, technology was very, very, very difficult challenge. So I think the biggest challenge we faced there was how do we bring in technology, which was very key for us to scale this business and make it a successful business. And we had to, work with the government, slowly try to convince them.
Yeah.
We also try to develop software domestically because we were not allowed to import software, banking software, etc. ATMs we introduced through other banks, not through Citibank, to showcase them to the world.
Yeah.
So I think technology and introducing technology, and in that I would give full credit to Jerry.
Yeah.
He did a wonderful job, and we were able to build the technology base to be able to offer the consumer banking services to the world.
You think that was a big differentiator, technology?
That was a huge differentiator because you could not service the customer base in scale without having proper technology. So that, I think, was the biggest challenge.
And as the head of the NRI business, you were responsible for generating liabilities. And then Ravi Behel was then lending them out through the corporate employee loan programs in India, correct? So that was a
corporate
division
vehicle
of Lima.
finance,
Correct.
housing later, and finally also cards.
Yes.
which Ashok Dutt
Ashok Dutt,
introduced.
yes. God bless his soul. Shamit, we all worked very, very hard in Citibank those days, blood, sweat, and tears. So fast forward to 2023, 2 years back, when Citibank sold its consumer banking business in India to Axis Bank as part of Citibank's global strategy to exit retail banking in 13 countries. How did you react to that decision? Because I know a lot of Citibankers globally who worked in India before felt very strongly that it was the wrong decision, that India is a huge market, and more importantly, given the effort they put in over their early careers into Citibank, they felt betrayed. Did you have the same sense of betrayal?
Well, Suvo, let me tell you something. When we started consumer banking, you were there,
Yeah.
you were there.
Yeah.
We were the pioneers. We were
Correct.
the leaders in the industry.
Yes.
But subsequently, the private sector banks like HDFC and ICICI Bank, competed with Citi and other foreign banks
Yeah.
for the business. And they frankly, marginalized most of the foreign banks.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think the reason I would feel bad is after making such a good start, we were not able to scale and compete with the private sector banks.
Yeah.
So by the time 2023 came, Citi was a marginal player, So to
You weren't
me,
surprised with
it
this?
did, I was not surprised, and I think you probably have seen the same thing in UAE.
Yeah.
The foreign banks got totally marginalized, right?
Yeah.
And I always felt that probably there was a way where the foreign banks could have continued to compete and build the distribution system, alternate distribution systems, and etc. So, frankly, in 2023,
You felt a bit sad, I'm sure.
a bit sad, but
Yeah.
that's all.
So when you now meet Jerry Rao and Ravi Behel, and you're going to now like to meet Jerry, you said, do you discuss those old days and what that meant and the fact that it's not there today anymore?
I don't think we definitely discuss it, and all the joys and pains of that period, But it doesn't make us sad, actually. I mean, okay, it was we did that. All of us subsequently went on to do different things.
Absolutely.
Jerry, of course, was a serial entrepreneur and set up so many IT companies, etc.
Yeah.
Ravi Behel, of course, also in the investment banking side, etc. And I went on to Ujjivan, etc. So it's a bit of our history of which we are very fond of.
Yeah.
And has a very special place in our heart.
And also, I think that training we had in Citibank has been a game changer in what we did subsequently, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was, I think, two areas, this thing, build new businesses, etc. And secondly, also how to manage crises.
Yeah, and how to take chances on people. I think Citibank took huge chances on young people.
Sure.
Taking on big roles.
I mean, for me, the biggest pride is also all of y'all, I mean, across the world.
Yeah.
After leaving Citi and have become so successful.
Absolutely.
So successful.
100%.
To me, that is
joy.
a matter of much more pride than what happened to Citibank.
True. Well said. Yeah. Now, moving now to Standard Chartered Bank, Shamit, where we again work together. You manage the personal banking business across various markets in South Asia and the Middle East. What were the key similarities or differences in consumer behavior across those markets? And did it prepare you, and how did it prepare you for Ujjivan?
Well, I mean, as you know, Suvo, Standard Chartered, especially on the retail banking side, was a laggard in most markets.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, when I saw different countries, I saw it from the perspective of Standard Chartered Bank.
Correct.
Take, for instance, Pakistan,
Yeah.
I had such a difficult time trying to convince the management there that we should install ATMs in the branches, They felt that this was the riskiest product or service we could do in Pakistan.
ATMs.
Because, of the crime, etc. The branch manager, the only way they would induct a depository customer in Pakistan was through personal interviews. So you can imagine that was one end. The other was in, say, for instance, in Bangladesh, where we put through the wall ATM. People would come and there would be like a
Crowd.
mela, and they would think that this machine is a cash printing machine and things like that. India, of course, the Standard Chartered in India was recovering from the Harshad Mehta scam.
Correct.
And so it was in a sort of paralysis. Most of the customers of Standard Chartered in India were the grandfather's generation, So that is we had to break that, and bring in the younger generation. And as you know, in UAE, where we did a lot of lending, especially in vehicle finance, without any consideration of risk. It was done through personal relationship in a majlis style, sitting across, So those were all the challenges which we faced in Standard Chartered.
Very diverse challenges.
And we had to overcome them and ultimately and make it a success.
And then fast forward to India, Shamit. You were the first retail banking head for HDFC Bank. A pioneering bank in many ways in India. Tell us about the experience of working for an Indian bank for the first time in your career. How was it different from your time at Citibank and Standard Chartered? And how do you think today HDFC Bank has redefined banking in India?
Well, HDFC Bank culturally was not an Indian bank at all because, Aditya Puri, who was the founder and the managing director of the bank, had spent his lifetime with Citibank. And he brought in all the culture, process and everything from Citibank there, The real challenge on HDFC in those days was it had started as a wholesale bank, if you do remember. And then later, because of the funding issues they faced in the market, they introduced the retail bank, and that's where I came in. Now, the culture of a wholesale bank and a culture of a retail bank are completely different,
Correct.
So that was a sort of a volatile mix there. In addition, there was, we had taken an untested core banking system, which led to a lot of startup problems, this thing, and consequently customer service issues.
Correct.
So all this at that time created a very, very difficult period to go through. But we were in 2-3 years able to put together the infrastructure of retail bank. Our focus was mainly on the liability deposit side. And our strategy to attract savings accounts at a lower rate and through the distribution network, ATMs, phone banking, branch banking, etc., along with cash management, which brought in current account, brought the cost of funds of the bank at a very low level, And consequently, HDFC Bank was then able to lend to prime customers because they could fund it at a very low cost. And I think HDFC has done a remarkable job since then. They got after I left, they got into the retail asset business and they took leadership and from in the marketplace. They completely outwitted all the foreign banks. They and ICICI Bank became the leaders of the retail bank. And it's an amazing story. Fortunately, I had got some ESOPs at that time, which still is my insurance in my portfolio.
I know that HDFC Bank have made a lot of their founding members very, very rich. So congratulations on that. So Shamit, let's now move to the Ujjivan journey. Ujjivan was founded in 2005 with a modest corpus, targeting the urban and semi-urban poor. What inspired you to take that leap? And in your mind today, what were the biggest hurdles you faced on those early days?
Well, in 2005, Suvo had spent 30 years in banking, half of it in the Gulf, half in India. I'd been fairly successful professionally. And financially, I was quite secure, having worked in the Gulf for a long period of time and being an international banker with Citibank, etc. But, I was sort of unhappy with the whole corporate world, you know. And I was trying to figure out what I should do next.
Yeah.
And I had a chat with my long dead dad. It's like an epiphany, you know.
Really?
Yeah, at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I told him, my father was a coal miner's doctor,
Yeah.
right? I told him all that I had achieved, financially, how secure I was,
Yeah.
built a beautiful house. Professionally, I had succeeded in whether it was the NRI business or, retail business, investment banking in Arab Bank, etc. So I sort of asked him, "Are you happy with what I have done so far?" So he answered to me, "So what?" You know,
Yeah.
that started me thinking, what should why is he saying that? Why is he saying, "So what?" Then I realized that his goal in life, his values were different.
Yeah.
He was a coal miner's doctor, right? So he felt that I should do something which will have an impact on the society, this thing. And that's when I started thinking that why don't I use my experience and education, which over the last 30 years, and provide financial services to the excluded, And I felt, we were always told that the poor are unbankable because their transaction sizes are so small, etc. And it is not a viable proposition.
Yeah.
But I felt that technology had moved so far that we could, using technology and scale, provide financial service to the poor and still make it a viable business. And that is the model I wanted to try. And that's how I went and spent some time in Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, saw how they, did, microfinance. And I felt if I could marry the back-end technology disciplines of retail banking with the front end of microfinance, I would have a very successful model. So that is what I set out to do. And that is a model I tried to build. And I asked my wife, Elaine, should I start something on my own? She said, well, all your life you have cribbed about your bosses, right? Why don't you try to do something where you are your own boss?
Correct.
So I got a green light from her and I started Ujjivan.
Amazing. Before we start with Ujjivan, Shamit, I know about the notebook you used to write all your thoughts down in, about the kind of financial institution that you wanted to create. Tell us more about the notebook and tell us how much of the dream did you eventually achieve?
Well, I think, what I wanted to do is...
Was it an A4 size notebook? What size was it?
No, it was a blue small notebook,
Okay.
Which I used to carry when I was to travel and write down notes, especially when I was in Standard Chartered Bank, go to different countries.
I've seen you with that.
And
book.
write down all these
You still
thoughts.
have that with you?
Still have some of them. Yeah.
Okay.
When I started Ujjivan, I wrote down, what are the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And how I wanted to do it. And as I said, basically, I wanted to take the good aspects of the corporate experience I had and marry it to the heart of the NGO world and provide, an outstanding banking service and a good place to work, that people should enjoy, should have a purpose-driven, career and a good place to work, So that is something I think I achieved to quite an extent while I was in Ujjivan. We became the third best place to work in India.
Wow.
Competing with Intel, Microsoft, Google, etc. From a people perspective, we provided ESOPs to every employee based on performance. So a lot of people were able to later build homes, buy cars, send kids to the best schools, etc. So those are the things which really reflect on what I wanted to do in Ujjivan.
Amazing. Ujjivan, of course, has grown to serve millions across India. What were the key strategies that enabled such rapid expansion, especially in a sector known for its volatility? You did expand quite fast, and you managed that growth quite well. What did you do differently?
Well, one of the things was right from day one, as I told you, in order for this business to be successful, we had invested a lot in people and in terms of technology,
Yeah.
right? And in order for this business to be viable, we had to scale. So we had, right from day one, we wanted to operate right across India,
Yep.
and scale and become profitable. Secondly, we had just seen what happened in Andhra. And a lot of microfinance institutions which were based in Andhra and got burnt, because of geographical concentration. So we felt in this business to be successful, we had to geographically spread out, So if there's a problem in one particular area, it doesn't affect the whole bank as such. So those were the two key things, um, scaling up right across India, right from day one. That was our objective.
Yeah.
And diffusing our risk, by that geographical expansion.
But tell me, the joint liability group, the JLG lending model, is central to Jeevan's approach. Tell us a bit more about this model and how has this model empowered economically active poor women? And what have been your learnings from this implementing this model at scale?
See, the JLG system is one of the initial steps of
Yeah.
microfinance.
Yeah.
When the loan sizes are small, etc. Right? But as the loan sizes increase, the JLG system falls apart because people cannot really guarantee other people's
people.
large loans, etc.
Correct.
There, it becomes an individual loan. And we, by then, have collected enough data on the customer's behavior and, internally,
Yeah.
and also through the credit bureau to assess the risk individually. So the JLG system actually is the first step.
Okay.
After that, it falls apart. It becomes an individual loan to the customer, and where the risk is assessed through data.
Ujjivan was one of the few microfinance companies to emerge unscathed from the microfinance crisis of 2010. Maybe you had some bruises, but they were nothing major. What risk management principles did you put in place, Shamit, to avoid the pitfalls that affected many of your peers?
Well, as I mentioned, Suvo, the crisis was in Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we were right next door, Karnataka.
Correct.
And at that time, people felt that if you had to be anyone in the microfinance business, you had to operate in Andhra Pradesh. We resisted that because what we saw was there was a mad rush to do business in Andhra Pradesh. The competition was very intense. In addition, the state government was quite antagonistic to the microfinance institutions because they had a microfinance program of their own, which was funded by the World Bank.
Yeah.
And just common sense told us there is excessive competition. People are just running helter-skelter like, the California gold rush.
Yeah.
Plus, the environment is not conducive because of the government. So stay away, and we stayed away from Andhra Pradesh. So that was a common sense risk management process which helped us, and it helped our reputation in the future as one of the best managed microfinance institutions in India.
Now, today, Ujjivan's portfolio is about 50% microfinance, 50% other. With recent challenges around NPAs that we are seeing in the Indian banking industry, how is the bank adapting its business model to manage asset quality and to ensure responsible lending?
Well, the thing is, microfinance has been in India for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And the customers have also moved up the economic ladder.
Yeah.
Their financial needs also have changed, So our objective was initially when we just started with the microfinance right at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
had changed, and we were following our customers in terms of servicing their different needs as they move up the economic ladder, right?
Yeah.
And consequently, we started developing products and services which they needed, like affordable housing, micro lab, gold loans, vehicle finance, micro and small business enterprises. Of course, when we became a bank, then all the depository products, fund transfer products, etc. So we have a range of products now, half of which may be secured and half is unsecured, which constitutes what Ujjivan provides today to what we call the aspiring segments of our economy. So it's not just pure bottom of the pyramid microfinance, but at people at different levels of aspiration as they move up the economic ladder with different products and services.
Understood. Now, how do you see the future mix of microfinance and secured lending evolving for small finance banks like Ujjivan?
I think we'll have to follow that route, I mean, finally, the unsecured portfolio will become a smaller and smaller section of our portfolio. But Suvo, I believe secured and unsecured has nothing to do with credit quality. You can give a lousy loan in a secured business and you will not get your money back.
Yeah.
And you can give a good loan in the unsecured business, But I think by diversifying our different products and making them profitable, each of them generating profit to contributing to the profit in Ujjivan.
Yeah.
Whether it's affordable housing, vehicle finance, MSME, etc., along with microfinance, we will have diversified our income flows.
Yeah.
And that's how we will build our business. The objective is to serve the aspiring population, in India, which is increasing day by day, and they have their financial needs.
Now, despite the growth of microfinance, Shamit, critics argue that the sector sometimes pushes debt onto vulnerable borrowers, leading to cycles of over-indebtedness. How do you respond to these concerns? And what safeguards do you think institutions like Ujjivan should put in place to ensure responsible lending?
Yeah, see, I mean, I think there is certain truth to it, unfortunately. It's not just external events like demonetization or the COVID, etc., which leads to a crisis.
Yeah.
We have another problem is in this business, the interest rate margin, is very high, 10 to 12% at a time. Unimaginable for a banking product,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
That unfortunately attracts a lot of players, and during good times, there's over exuberance and then people overlend. And then again, you go through a period of crisis, which has happened recently after the COVID crisis.
Correct.
Microfinance is went through another period of crisis. That is purely because of overlending. I think microfinance has been very successful in terms of reaching out to millions of customers in the last 20 years, and become Indian microfinance is one of the biggest in the world, But we've not been able to reduce the interest rate on microfinance as much as we should have. And reduce the interest rate margins. And so that, players who are there, who have no business to be there should not be there, And even microfinance institutions should not get over exuberant. And this is, I think, something which the central bank and the industry itself has to work on.
But logically, Shamit, shouldn't higher margins lead to more competition, therefore logically drop the interest rate margins over time?
It should, but unfortunately, the market is so large. It has not happened to the extent in the last 20 years I expected. And in my mind, that is one of the failures of microfinance in India.
Interesting. This is a good time for a commercial break. But before that, I want to remind my listeners to visit moneymajlis.com to redeem your free $50 gift card for a charity of your choice. As you know, every listener of Money Majlis gets the opportunity in every episode to get a $50 gift card by just visiting my website. Also, every guest of Money Majlis gets a $1,000 gift card as a token of our gratitude. My guest today, Samit Ghosh, has chosen to contribute his $1,000 Money Majlis gift card to World Central Kitchen. As a listener, you can choose to redeem your gift card for the same cause or for any of the other 5 causes on my website, moneymajlis.com. See you after the break.
The financial world is changing fast. Institutions need to meet the growing client demand for crypto financial services, but they need a battle-tested platform to build upon.
AquaNow is a leading crypto financial services platform, powering incumbent institutions to launch crypto brokerage, payments, and remittance services for their clients, securely and at scale.
Be part of the transformation. Visit aquanow.com today.
The end touches your life.
in more ways than you can imagine.
You want more tech,
More speed.
more convenience,
more entertainment.
more business solutions,
Ian gives you all that.
and so much more. E&. Go for more.
Parents teach their children to talk, to walk, to ride, to read. So why not teach them about managing their money? Introducing the all-new Live Light app, designed to teach 8 to 18-year-olds good money habits. A free and totally secure app designed for them that's always under your control. Top up their cards, set limits, assign tasks, and reward them with allowances. Download the LiveX app to open a Live Light account in minutes, and the first 50 dirham allowance is on us. Visit live.me today. Live Digital Bank by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined. T's and C's apply.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena. Intellect drives digital adoption in banking and insurance. Leverage emac.ai, the most comprehensive, composable, and intelligent open finance platform for banking and insurance transformation. Intellect Design Arena.
The end touches your life.
in more ways than you can imagine.
You want more tech,
More speed.
more convenience,
More entertainment.
more business solutions,
Ian gives you all that.
and so much more. E&. Go for more.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the Middle East, and Africa's digital payments champion. We make business happen and economies prosper by simplifying commerce and payments. Trusted by over 250 banks, fintechs, and telcos, and 130,000 merchants in over 50 countries. Bringing you tomorrow's payment solutions today.
Welcome back to Money Majlis. Coming to you today from Bangalore, India. We are talking to Samit Ghosh, the well-known banker and social entrepreneur. Samit, your late wife, Elaine Ghosh, who tragically passed away in 2013, founded the Parinam Foundation to support Ujjivan's clients who were too poor even for microcredit. Today, you chair the foundation and your daughter, Malika Ghosh, is its CEO. How has Parinam's work impacted urban ultra-poor communities, and what are your hopes for its future?
Well, Parinam services about 200 communities in Bangalore.
Yep.
And we right now are reevaluating the whole program, in order to, one, scale up further in Bangalore.
Yep.
And also probably to see if we can improve the impact of this program going ahead. It had done a wonderful work all these years, and especially during the COVID period, it's done an outstanding work. And I think it is the central part of Parinam's endeavors today. That and the academic adoption program.
Correct.
Are the 2 programs they want to focus on.
And the Chote Kadam project, right? That's other.
Chote Kadam is something which they do with Ujjivan. These are basically, it's a joint venture between Parinam, architectural firm called Bhumiputra, and Ujjivan. And they undertake high impact projects in the communities where Ujjivan works. This has been there for quite some time, and it has a tremendous impact on in the communities.
Now, you talked about impact there, Samit. How do you measure the long-term impact of these initiatives? How do you measure impact?
Actually, in Chote Kadam, it's basically you measure it by the appreciation which people have shown for in the community. There is no sort of statistical way to measure it, but we identify it, check with the community what are the projects they want us to do, which will have a serious impact on them.
Yeah.
Based on that, we undertake that project. And the appreciation we get from them is the source of this thing.
I'm sure you have so many memorable stories from Parinam, yeah?
Yeah.
You see many of these firsthand, right? The people who are impacted. Anything that you want to relate to us?
Well, I mean, even very close to Bangalore, the IT capital of India,
Yeah.
in a place close to Hosur,
Yeah.
there was a village, where they got water twice a week from the municipality.
Twice a week. Okay.
Yeah. And most of the water they would get is from a well, which was an open well. It didn't even have a pulley system.
Okay.
So we just fixed that well and put a pulley system in place. That itself,
Transform
the water situation in that area. So these are the small things which we, in the Northeast, which is the hilly areas, we often build roadways, pathways actually for villages to walk around.
Yeah.
Or community halls, etc. We spent a lot of money fixing schools, government schools, which have really got a strong impact on the community.
Amazing. May you continue your work in all these areas. Shamit, I move on now to leadership, people, and culture. Having worked with you at Citibank and Standard Chartered, I've seen firsthand your exceptional people management skills. Tell me, how would you describe your leadership style in your own words? And the second part of the question is, what do you believe are the most important qualities today for building high-performing, motivated teams?
Well, I believe in two things, Suvo. Is first, you should have respect for everyone.
Yeah.
That is fundamental. And give the person or support that person to have a purpose in whatever they do. Those are two fundamental things: respect and purpose. That drives people. I mean, they can move like you don't have to do too much after that. As long as that person knows I have, his respect, he or she is respected, and give that person something which really is a purpose which gives her joy to work for.
You're known for being a people's leader, approachable, empathetic, and empowering. And I interact with a lot of people who work with you in their past lives, and they all respect you and admire you. Can you share a story, Shamit, where your leadership approach made a difference during a challenging time, either with Ujjivan or one of your earlier roles?
Well, one of the stories, not stories as such, but demonetization hit us very hard.
Yeah.
And most of our customers live in a cash economy,
Yeah.
So you can imagine how they were impacted.
Correct.
So in that crisis, how do you handle yourself? First of all, you need to understand what the customer is going through. And then you have to have sort of patience, understanding and patience for the customer to handle that crisis and not try to be over aggressive and try to on the recovery program, etc. And that kind of an approach, where there is empathy, and there is patience, works incredibly. I found people who defaulted during demonetization continuing to repay their loans even 2-3 years after this thing. So that is something which I felt was quite amazing.
You've always been very customer focused, Shamit, and I've been in meetings with you where you bring people back to, so where is the customer in this story? Tell me, today's leaders, corporate leaders, are so much under pressure from shareholders that they forget about the two other stakeholders, which is customers and people as an employees, and sometimes even society or the community. How do you manage in today's world as a corporate leader where you can balance all these stakeholders?
See, when I started Ujjivan, I was a bit confused. What is this? And as I told you, with the combination of the corporate world and the NGO world itself.
Yeah.
As not an NGO, not a full-fledged corporate institution.
Yeah.
And then people said, oh, you're a social enterprise. I don't know what the hell social enterprise means, because I don't think any enterprise can survive in the long run without having a positive benefit to the society. Then I came across a book called Conscious Capitalism by McKay, who was a Whole Foods, and Indian professor called Sisodia, where they talked about that you have multiple stakeholders in any enterprise, and you have to treat all the stakeholders virtually the same. Don't overplay one against the other. It depends. Sometimes it depends. In a particular situation, you have to be focused on the shareholder or the customer or the employees, etc. But generally, you balance all the stakeholders, and that's what I tried. That is what philosophy I believed in, and build a enterprise which is based on conscious capitalism.
And is that what your advice to young leaders would be in building, let's say, a culture of trust and collaboration?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, let's move to your life in Bangalore, a city you love so much. And after so many international postings, you chose to settle down in Bangalore and build this beautiful house in Whitefield, where we're sitting today in a beautiful, cool, and cloudy Sunday to record this podcast. What drew you and Elaine to this city? And what does home mean to you now?
Well, Bangalore, when we decided to stay here in the early 90s, was the retirement capital of India.
Yeah.
And a lot of our friends, especially from the Gulf, who were planning to return to India, wanted to settle in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So that drove us to Bangalore. Subsequently, of course, Bangalore has completely changed. Though, if you see in our part of this, where we live, it's still a bit like old Bangalore. Very green, very quiet, So that's how, and we decided that having lived all over the world and lived very well in the Gulf, in the beautiful homes, etc., we wanted to build a dream home for ourselves and for our children. So that's how we ended up building this. But of course, now most of the children have grown up, and Elaine's also passed away, so a bit of an empty nester. But I just can't leave this place, because of the peace and quiet and the greenery here, the birds chirping,
Of course.
That's what keeps me going.
Tell me, your home is called Paridesa. Explain to me what that means.
Paridesa is actually a Farsi word, It describes a house in Persia with a large wall surrounding it, and which has a garden inside, beautiful garden inside, and the house inside there. So it is the origin of the word paradiso, paradise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. That's where it comes from. So I was reading William Dalrymple's book, the one he wrote about Delhi, one of the first books, and he describes a house of a Mughal princess, in where he calls, it's named as Paridesa, and that's how we got the name.
Interesting. Now, Bangalore has changed a lot, Shamit, since you moved in here in the early 90s, some for the better, some for the worse. What are still some of your favorite hidden gems in the city? Where do you like going?
Well, I think two places which I'm very fond of in Bangalore. One is Cubbon Park,
I love that park.
And the other is Lal Bagh, where the annual, the flower shows, etc. happen.
Yes.
Those are, I think, the hidden gems of Bangalore.
Now, Shamit, you're a self-confessed foodie. Like me, you love food. What are your favorite restaurants and cuisines in Bangalore? And is there a dish that you can never resist?
Well, Bangalore, when we first came, we could hardly find a good restaurant outside the five-star hotels.
Mhm.
And we had started something called a Tuesday Club,
Okay.
where we, about 4 or 5 couples whose all our children were in Kodaikanal,
Yeah.
we would go out and find a good place to eat,
Mhm.
very difficult to find, in those days. Today, it's completely changed,
Yeah.
Those days, there's a whole influx of the younger generation here,
Yeah.
there. Lot of restaurants, entertainments from across India and also across the world you find here.
Yeah.
And, our current favorite restaurant
Yes.
in Bangalore is a small Japanese restaurant called Azuki.
Azuki. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
And that's how it is today. It's changed completely. Bangalore, no longer a sleepy town for old generation. It's vibrant, younger generation, lot of people. But along with that, also the problems of traffic, etc., come. But as I was telling you, today Bangalore is spread all over, and it's one of the fastest growing metros in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And we have become like we live in independent boroughs where every, we can, it's self-sufficient boroughs.
Understood.
Like Whitefield, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Shamit, when you were in Dubai, you were famous for going hunting for new places to eat, and you discover some gems in some, lanes of Dera or Bad Dubai or whatever. Have you done that in Bangalore? Have you found something which is
So that's what we started with the Tuesday Club, and here in Bangalore, we are in the crossroads of the south,
Yeah.
So there are the southern cuisine, the Kannadiga, the Andhra, the Malayali,
Yeah.
cuisines
Yeah.
which are there, and Tamilian cuisines. You find a lot of these restaurants which are specialized in these local, foods
Yeah.
from these states, which is quite amazing here.
And any recommendations for the listeners who live in Bangalore or travel to Bangalore? Well, you and I have gone to a lovely biryani place.
In fact, I was going to tell you my favorite is, which I took you to,
Yeah.
is the Andhra biryani, and
Yeah.
that happens to be one of my favorite mutton biryani in town,
And which
called Eden Park.
Eden Park, actually. I would recommend that highly to my listeners. It's excellent biryani in a garden kind of restaurant,
Garden,
right?
yeah.
Now, Shamit, you love traveling the world. You just returned from a lovely holiday in Hokkaido, Japan. I saw some lovely pictures. Which destinations have left the biggest impression on you?
Well, in the last few years, I've traveled to Japan 3 or 4 times with friends, and last time with also my son. And the pristine countryside of Japan, along with the Buddhist temples and the Zen gardens, have had a tremendous impact on me.
Yeah.
I also traveled to Peru
Mm.
just before, before COVID, and saw the Inca civilization, and I traveled to Mexico a couple of times to see the history. These countries are so rich. Latin American, South American countries have such rich history.
Correct.
That I regretted that I spent most of my life traveling to North America and Europe earlier.
And not to South America.
Yeah. And so Peru, Mexico, Japan have been my favorites in the last few years.
So what's still on your travel bucket list?
Well, I've been thinking of taking the family to Maldives.
Okay.
But we have to see. Maldives, I believe, has become very expensive.
It's an expensive destination.
Yeah. So Maldives is one. And I also would like to take my grandchildren to Africa.
Okay.
So a lot of our travel now with the family centers around what would be good for the grandchildren.
My final serious question, Shamit. What career advice would you give the younger generation today? Would you recommend banking as a career?
I would recommend banking as a career, but you have to be prepared for a complete revolutionary change, which will take place in banking,
Mm.
whether it is the digital banking side
Yeah.
or the data warehouse and data analytics,
Mm.
your AI apps. These three things are going to change banking completely. I mean, they're going to change a whole lot of things in the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
but these are going to be. So if you want to get into banking, I think one needs to focus on one of these three areas, to get ahead in life.
Excellent. Time now, Shamit, for a rapid fire round where I will ask you a set of fun questions, which you have to answer quickly without thinking too hard. Okay. The first thing that comes to your mind. What's your favorite memory from Dinobli School?
Well, before the Nobly School, I went to this convent, which you probably remember, Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel, yes.
And as a little boy, I was miserable there,
Mm.
And so going to Dinobli, a boys' school,
Mm-hmm.
was to me
A
the
dream.
ultimate happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I passed Mount Carmel to go to Dinobli, I would hide under the car, so that the nuns couldn't get me.
The most memorable meal you ever had?
Well, recently I went to Calcutta, and as you know, this is the Ilish March
Season.
Hilsa
Hilsa.
season.
Yes, yes.
And I went to this Peerless Inn
Yes.
and had a wonderful betki
Betki.
fry.
And
Then
baked Ilish.
no, Ilish fry with
Uh-huh.
the oil of the
On top.
Ilish with the rice.
Yeah.
Then Papa Ilish,
Mine. Yeah.
So, and also shukto to break the monotony.
Wonderful.
So that was, I think the last most delicious meal I've had.
Excellent. What's your favorite pastime during traffic jams in Bangalore? What do you do?
Well, I listen to maybe a pop podcast or I see something on YouTube.
Okay. Most inspiring book you read recently?
I read recently a book called Mountain Sings by a Vietnamese author. Her name is Quay May. And it is a historical novel of her family going through the couple of generations of what the Vietnamese have gone through.
Interesting. Now, the living room we are sitting in, Shamit, for this podcast is full of posters, which are both Bollywood and Hollywood. Do you have a favorite Hollywood movie and a favorite Bollywood movie?
From what you see here, in the old times, there are two of these, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Absolutely.
And then there is, of course,
Sholay,
which just celebrated 50 years.
Yes, the two of my favorite movies as well. One thing about Bangalore you wish would never change?
Weather.
The weather. Lovely. We're sitting in the month of August and look at the weather around us. Your favorite genre of music?
Well, I love jazz quite a bit, but I like folk, jazz.
Okay. And a fintech trend that you're most excited about?
I think, data analytics is an area which interests me a lot, and credit decision making based on data analytics and credit aggregator information.
Yeah.
Today, I think is something which excites me a lot.
One word to describe the future of microfinance?
Transform.
Excellent. That brings us to the end of today's special episode with Samit Ghosh. Samit, thank you so much for sharing a remarkable journey, your insights, and your lovely stories, both professional and personal. It's been a real privilege knowing you for so many years. And of course, seeing the impact that you've made, not just in banking, but in people's lives. May you continue to be an influential voice, Samit, in both financial services, social innovation, and microfinance, inspiring the next generation of leaders and change makers. So thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Suvo. It has been a privilege to be part of this, interaction and almost taking, it's like a biography, I went through almost like my personal biography.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Aqua Now, the premier crypto as a service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Intellect Design Arena, driving digital adoption in banking and insurance.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Live Digital Bank, powered by Emirates NBD. Trust and innovation combined.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
Money Majlis is conceived and scripted by me, Suvo Sarkar. The show is produced by Sabeen Ajkar at Podster and is made possible thanks to our partners at Aquanow, Emirates NBD, E&, Intellect Design Arena, and Network International. My giving partner is Good World. To our listeners, thank you for tuning into Money Majlis. Don't forget to subscribe for more conversations with the movers, shakers, and leaders in the world of banking, technology, and everything else. Till next time, goodbye. Stay well and do good.